What happened to Natalie Holloway, the Alabama teenager who disappeared during a school trip to Aruba in 2005? From the beginning, a young man named Joran van der Sloot was the prime suspect in her disappearance. Well, he finally admitted he killed her.
So what happens?
We drove to that beach there. We got out, and I told Deepak I'd call him later to come pick me up, because I was planning on walking from that piece of the beach back to her hotel, and that maybe on the beach walk there something would happen between us. We walked out on the beach.
How is she walking? Does she still seem okay to you?
Yeah, she seemed okay.
Were there other people on the beach?
Yes, there were. There were a lot of couples on the beach. We walked first, I took off my shoes because I got sand in them. We walked right up to the water, and first we sat down there a while, talking and kissing, and then I asked her if she wanted to go back to her hotel. She said no, she wanted to walk the other way, so the north towards the north side of the island. And during that walk, there was one other couple that walked by, and so we walked a while till we got about right to the fishermen's huts, and we sat down again in the sand, and we kissed, we made out, and yeah.
So I'm going to take the approach in this one to treat this guy like somebody I have to interrogate and figure out where I'd focus. And when we talk about interrogation, a lot of interrogation time is spent on micro interview, meaning I look for a baseline, I see a blip, I forget about everything except the blip, I open, I go to interview until I see another blip, and repeat until I get to the problem. We don't see Chris do that here, Chris Cuomo do that here, because when he says that beach,
to that beach there,
he closes his eyes and eye blocks. There may be nothing there, but if you leave that unturned, you'll never know. So I'd say, hold on a second, that beach there, what? Let's follow through and understand why he's being nondescript here when he was very descriptive in the last video. Also followed by an apprehensive breath, because he pulls in after he says it. Now, may mean nothing, but it may also mean something important. Which beach, where, which strip of beach? There's also a pregnant pause, very pregnant, at that piece, ... of the beach.
Because I was planning on walking from that piece of the beach.
Why? And he shifts his head position. Why? I want to know, what do you mean by that piece of the beach? Because there could be something else. He was going down the wrong path and used the wrong word, and that creates an anchor that you can come back to later. And then there's classic time hiding here, and that doesn't mean anything happened, but if you leave that gap, you have a problem.
We sat down there a while, talking and kissing, and ...
There's a pause again. Cadence shift means something. Then I asked her if she wanted to go back
to her hotel.
Another time hide.
We
kissed and made out. There's a flurry of blinks. And then, he throws his facts away at the end. This is going to be one of the most important of all these videos to me. I'm going to say number 2 is my first marker that I would use to go into an interrogation.
To me, everything's fine until it gets to that part about one other couple that walked by.
During that walk, there was one other couple that walked by.
Because we hear and so.
And so
this is new. There are lots of ands. So he's creating time, and this might be, I got the feeling when I first saw this is probably where things really happen right there, where things might have gone sideways for him, or if he did kill her, I'd say that's right in that area there, right in that time frame there. His illustrating happens very low. In fact, it's all on the wrist, and his arm doesn't even leave the chair. He's just giving it one of these numbers as he's talking. And I think what we're seeing, by the way he sounds and the way his sentence structure is, and these long pauses in there, I know he's Dutch, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's speaking English, but he's Dutch, so that could play into a little bit there. But it sounds like he's walking on eggshells.
We walked first, I took off my shoes because I got sand in them. We walked right up to the water.
So he's paying attention to everything he says, not just word for word pronunciation, those kind of things. I mean, he's paying attention to what he's saying as a whole, because he knows he has to be careful in here. Because right now he thinks everything's fine. He thinks he's gotten away with it. So all he has to do is just make sure he keeps walking down that walking the tightrope the way he should be walking it. So after he talks about making out with her, we see that heavy eye flutter. And then he very quickly says, and yeah, real quick like that.
And yeah,
that lets us know there's an issue there. So I think something must have happened in this little section here, this question down at the beach. I think that might be where things start happening.
She asked to go back to her hotel, but I was just trying to get dropped off a little bit further away from her hotel so we could walk back to her hotel and I might still get a chance to be with her. I'm actually with Natalie walking along the beach. I find a space before we get to the Marriott hotel where I lay her down. We lay down together in the sand and we start kissing each other. I get her to kiss me again. We start kissing each other, and I start feeling her up again. And she tells me no. She tells me she doesn't want me to feel her up. I insist. I keep feeling her up either way, and she knees me. She ends up kneeing me in the crotch. When she knees me in the crotch, I get up on the beach and I kick her extremely hard in the face. Yeah, she's laying down unconscious, possibly even dead, but definitely unconscious. And I see right next to her there's a huge cinder block laying on the beach. I see a huge cinder block laying on the beach. I take this and I smash her head in with it completely. Her face basically, collapses in. Even though it's dark, I can see her face is collapsed in.
She said she wanted to walk the other way. So we've got somebody here who wants to go 180 degrees in the opposite direction to the way that she should be going. And there is a micro gesture of approval that he gives on that. Tiny, tiny little eyebrow raise, but go and take a look at it because it is micro small, but because it is so different from what his eyebrows are normally doing, you can see it. So he's looking for approval on this 180 degrees going in the opposite direction that she should, because clearly it's odd, it's bizarre, just like the idea that she might be claiming that she is Hitler's niece.
She told me her mom was Hitler's sister.
You got Hitler's niece going 180 degrees in the opposite direction to what she should be. Of course, you're going to want approval on that story because clearly it's a little bit bizarre.
There's one thing that I continuously teach when it comes to reading behavior. Look for what's missing, and then look for what's different. So what's different, what's missing? I would probably do it in that order. The one statement that's vastly different from all the others here is when he's detailing their walk over to the fishermen's huts. And when he says, we kissed, we made out, and we kissed, we made out, and yeah. There's an eye flutter and there's a loss of fluency, which is when we struggle to produce some accurate words or speech. And these are occurring at the moment. We're seeing the sharp increase in self-regulation. He's locked himself down and there's information missing. And the eye flutter is something we see when somebody's computer processor, or what we would call cognitive load, increases to some high level. And pretty often we see this when we're processing lots of information in our heads, but sometimes you'll see it in response to someone trying to clear disturbing thoughts or memories that are coming up at that precise moment as they're telling a story. This is a red flag here because it meets the criteria for a red flag, according to me, which means there's a higher potential for it to be deceptive. So there are 5 C's I'm going to teach you right now. This is the time to pull out your pen to determine if something is a red flag or not in my book. And they're listed here and not in order of priority. I'll give them in order of priority a little bit later, and you'll see why. So change, checklist, which are just these common behaviors associated with deception or stress. Context, the behavior occurs in response to some stimulus. Cluster, and it occurred in a group of behaviors that also indicate stress. So those are 4 of the 5 C's. In the next video, I'll give you number 5.
The eyewitness is you.
So what happens?
We drove to that beach there. We got out, and I told Deepak I'd call him later to come pick me up, because I was planning on walking from that piece of the beach back to her hotel, and that maybe on the beach walk there something would happen between us. We walked out on the beach.
How is she walking? Does she still seem okay to you?
Yeah, she seemed okay.
Were there other people on the beach?
Yes, there were. There were a lot of couples on the beach. We walked first, I took off my shoes because I got sand in them. We walked right up to the water. And first we sat down there a while, talking and kissing. And then I asked her if she wanted to go back to her hotel. She said no, she wanted to walk the other way, so the north, towards the north side of the island. And during that walk, there was one other couple that walked by. And so we walked a while till we got about right to the fishermen's huts. And we sat down again in the sand. And we kissed, we made out, and yeah.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.